And my apologies that I got here so late, but the logistics out of Accra this morning were terrible. But there is a God who answers prayer.
Amen.
So, as you can see, I'm empty-handed. And the reason is that I'm coming into academia, and I know that you have all the mastery of the creative presentations and slides, but we come unarmed. The rest of us have come with nothing but the pain of 30 years since I left Katanga, and 17 organizations in this country that have employed me since then. Not only in this country, but 17 employers. And the reflection of what we are discussing today. How did Katanga Chemical Engineering Department, MBA, prepare me for the challenges that led me through Valco, where I first entered, saw the production line, had a factory worker tell me that engineering must be put aside now for us to deal with the conveyor belt. And those moments, I sat many times and asked whether he was right or I was right. But I concluded that I was right. Because one of my friends told me that the day you see the thermocouple, there will be 5 seconds in which you panic, whether it's the same one you saw in the textbook. But when you overcome that panic, then the worker will panic, because you are going to say things which he has also handled for a long time but has not reflected on. So I went there with that full conviction, and that's why I keep mentioning the Katanga of old, where we confronted the intellectual capacity of government and society to see whether we could also contribute with innovation. I know there have been incidents in recent times where it has been about brute force and physicality, but I'm talking about 1989 to 1993. And these conversations led us to be able to do carbon process control in Valco, fresh from chemical engineering. I had done the same things, transport phenomena, chemical reaction engineering, chemical reactor design. We had done these things. And I knew that there were people who were consciously putting down academia when we got in. There were many people who were saying, you only know theory. But I had a lecturer called Dr. Tom Yajay, and Tom told us in class, he said, when he got into industry in Canada, he had nothing but his principles. He was a black African in a society where they were not necessarily respectful of his intellectual capacity. But he knew the principles, and he worked for Kellogg's, he worked for engineering consultancy firms, and he held his own, and we could tell by the quality of his teaching. So I may hold a minority view in the matter, because I know that a lot has been said to put down what happens in the ivory tower as we speak, and a lot has been said to elevate what happens in the engine room of industry. But I've been in the engine room of industry for the past 30 years. I went from Valco, I went to the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission, where we put in a nuclear reactor, the first one, the 1994, I've forgotten who commissioned it on behalf of Jerry Rollins. He couldn't make it himself. Yeah, and we put that in. It was Alote who was chairman of commission at the time. I remember when he came to my unit for water purification and so on. He was the one that the Austrian authorities that had been sent from IAEA to monitor what we were doing. He was the one they were lobbying. He was every funding that you needed in nuclear science at the time, his endorsement was key. But there was a certain tendency for people to undermine what is taught in the ivory tower, and that's what I do not stand by. I left to Belgium, and when I came back, I went to Pricewaterhouse. And Pricewaterhouse was charged with public financial management renewal program. We were supposed to design what became budget and public expenditure monitoring systems and so on for government, Oracle technology and so on. The project failed. Why did it fail? Because we did not have the intellectual rigor in the design. Because we thought that when they say data modeling, when they say entity relationship diagrams and these things, it doesn't matter. That all we will do is to get there and the system will implement itself. System was in pilot for many years. If you ask me, I could hazard to say that the failure of that project is the reason for poverty in Ghana today. Because the project was envisaged to capture the leakages in public sector financing. But it did not happen. Because overruns were being paid to consultants, funny things were happening. I was a young man with nothing but my principles. At that time, I had left chemical engineering and I had now acquired Masters in Business Administration, Management Information Systems option. We were the first batch. So we had to be taught the second year in Belgium. We started in Legon, but we went to Belgium. And we came back again with these principles. Of course, the dynamics are funny. When I was finishing MBA, my Belgian supervisor said, look, we must immediately give you PhD scholarship so that you can come and help when the scholarships to Belgium run out. University of Ghana said, no, you have to apply, face appointment board, go and work for 2 years, apply for study leave, see whether you'll be. And I said, okay, one day we'll meet in paradise. By the time I've done all those things, my father, who had retired, he was chasing me to start earning salary so that he can forget about buying Milo for the house. So I could not follow what they were saying. But those are the failures of the institutions of the university. Because I think what the Belgians were saying was correct. We had just been trained. How do you go and take somebody who's teaching accounting or production management or something, introduce them to MIS, get them to do a PhD because they've been there longer? So those things also, but I think that at the end of the day, there's a certain professional courtesy that is required. And it is the marriage of the two arms that will allow us to create an innovation society. I left Pricewaterhouse within 6 months of joining because I didn't see that project going anywhere. And I was a person in a hurry. I wanted to make my mark. I had done 2 years of chemical engineering. I felt I had learned a lot, but I wanted to understand MIS, and I knew that it was for a third world country one of the things that we needed very badly. So I went to KPMG where they trained me. To this day, I'm saying that I was trained in KPMG. Because the late Kentufo, God rest his soul, he made it a point that he would take you, a young man, into a board meeting. At the end of the board meeting, you say, Chairman, I pray you audience for 30 seconds. I want my young man to also give his observations. So some of the things also, that's why I went back to the origins of, you see, when we were in Katanga Potter's Lodge in those days, you talk nonsense, they throw you to the pond. But it was a certain record that was forming in your mind. That, before you seek clarity on an issue, you to think through it. So what Ken did for us was just building on what we had learned in those days. And it was important for us to marry all the audiences that we had faced through our student life up to now. KPMG taught me a lot. 14 projects in 15 months. It was rigorous. But I loved it. And at the end, sometimes departure is for frustration, sometimes departure is for opportunity. KPMG I left for opportunity because I met people from British American Tobacco and they were so happy with the training I was receiving in KPMG that they said, okay, come and be a regional sales manager for Southeast Ghana. And that's how I entered into sales. You will see that at a point I'll start skipping some of the employers, but that occasion for me to enter British American Tobacco sales is what I leveraged on many years later as head of sales and distribution of MTN. And I hazard again to say that because of that sales training that we received in trade marketing and so on, tobacco could not go on TV and advertise in those days. So the salesman was everything. You had to get it right. And when I got to MTN, mobile money was 200,000 monthly active users. This is 2013 when I took over sales. When I handed over in 2021, it was 11.7 million. So that journey was a journey in which, when I saw this, I was very happy when I saw the minutiae and so on. Because for us to be salesmen in those days, we had to start every year from the courtesy calls. These courtesy calls included the one we go to Wana and help to break the fast and deal with certain things that are happening there. We go to Yengi, go to Nabewa Palace, and over there, Yana receives you very well, gives you blessing, links you up to the Damba Festival, connects you to the various states of that home, and you are part of it. Awemefia and Law, we used to go there to Katanga, and then we have Hobechocho together. We go to Abogomefia in Ho, we go to Isikado, and of course we come to Asatene. And at that point, because you've learned how to wash your hands all over the country, when you come, you have something sensible to say. He doesn't expect you to come there and talk about radios and whatnot and whatnot and whatnot. You are there to come and show that you can think. And some of that thinking is the record that we employed when we went into the University of Ghana, got the statistics from the geography department on how many settlements are in Ghana. They gave us 44,000. And every Monday morning I sat with salespeople and asked them, out of the 44,000, how many have you been to in the last 7 days? Was there radio coverage? The people, what is their occupation? Nobody ever told me that the occupation of people in an area that is growing is teaching or even medicine or law or anything. Most of the time you ask them, how come sales are going in this area? Hey, the smugglers, so they've come. The Galamsey people have found something over there. The Sakawa boys have moved. This country is running on illegal activity. And we are busy modeling the legal activity. So you see that the econometric model are not speaking to each other. Because if you want to be a salesman, you need to be friends with the police, not necessarily with the, clergy. But we tend to be caught in a certain artificial construct, which is what we challenge, because we were coming out of many different citadels. So yes, after PMT, I went on to BAT, I went on to Ghana Breweries Limited, and they then expatriated me to Heineken. When I got to Heineken, they said they cannot do software projects in Nigeria because everything they do there fails. Every project manager's burial ground is in Nigeria. So I said, then give me the project. And I went to Nigeria. My first journey, I went and came. My boss could not understand what I went to do there because the project plan is not seeing the tracker, he's not seeing it. And I said, my brother, second journey we'll talk about the tracker. But this one, we went to drink pepper soup. We now know some of the people's homes. I know the number of children this guy has now, this and that and that and that. For a Dutchman, he could not understand what I was talking about. But by the time people started calling from Nigeria to say, oh, my data entry has fallen behind schedule, the people were so energized in the project. And they said, what has changed in Nigeria? And I said, I'm a citizen of West Africa. That is what has changed. It is not easy for me to do projects in Zoeterwoude in Holland, even though I do them. But in my Africa, I can do the projects. And Nigeria became one of the benchmarks for successful systems implementation within the Heineken Group because we got a cultural interface right. So time, of course, will not allow us to unpack all of these issues in a lot of depth. But my view of what is happening here today is that we are running out of time. Next week, God willing, I'll be traveling to the United States. The following week, God willing, I'll be in Silicon Valley for the second time. In Silicon Valley, for the first time, I saw that the economies of the world are moving simply because of the presence of Stanford University in Silicon Valley. Because a lot of this innovation starts from within the valley. Within the network of California universities, from Caltech, UCLA, Berkeley, University of Southern California, this network is powerful. And the amount of money that sits on Sand Hill Road in Silicon Valley to fund innovation that is coming out of the universities, to get a lot of it wrong and a lot of it right. The ability to be reckless with ideas is what is creating a lot of the energy. And then, of course, it is being caught by the incubators of Google and Meta and all of them, Tesla and the rest of them. So that triangle of virtue. Incubators, academia, and money. Anywhere that we've created that triangle successfully in the world, the economy has remained powerful. Of course, you put a social net under so that you don't get it all wrong like San Francisco with crime and all these things just going out. But you put a social net under, which is fundamental to what we do. So I'm not a practitioner from industry who says that I can wage this battle without academia. When I was head of sales of MTN, I sent the Center for Social Policy Studies of the University of Ghana into the market to find out that the mobile money that we were registering, the smartphones that we are introducing, the insurance that we are put on the street now, the SIM cards that we sold, what are the social constructs of Ghanaians that are allowing us to be able to put it and get that level of adoption? We put a little money behind that, and the kind of calls we got, the kind of right they brought to us, these things allowed us to train, to put more people. I mean, it sounds like a figment of my own imagination, but I suddenly saw the sales organization of MTN just growing in terms of promotions. Everybody was getting promoted. People were going to other countries in higher job grades. 17 people left the country. Some came back, some did not. Others, it was a lot of energy that was created because we were able to put that academic construct underneath. Today, the telecom industry is out of balance. Today, you realize that the whole conversation is about dominance and hegemony and so on and so forth. It's because there has not been a continuation of that academic foundation that was put there for us to do the first scaling projects. I went to banking, I saw the same thing. We were able to put API sharing platforms, we were able to put a lot of things in place. So today, Doctor told me while I was sitting there that we want the management school interface to come strong in the academia collaboration. The management school interface for me is strong. I was looking at a video today where I was looking at Tim Cook, Elon Musk, quite a few people, and asking why are there so many engineers in top roles? It is because the parameterization of management, the optimization of those parameters, the trust that is created through strategy has been well appreciated and is being applied to other economies. And myself, I'm a person of relatively few words. I'm speaking to you purely out of the passion that I've observed in the 30-year journey through 17 organizations. Yes, I've created a platform today, but it is based on the fact that I saw a gap in the fintech ecosystem. I saw that majority of the transactions, the Bank of Ghana just said 1.2 trillion cedis has already been transacted on mobile money year to date. Last year, full year was the same amount. And despite e-learning, we are exceeding that threshold. So I saw that despite all of that, the system is still quite archaic. It is still, I withdraw money and then I spend money. So we miss all the analytics in between. And therefore I said, okay, then in the informal sector, where people don't want to put item prices, where they want to bargain and so on and so forth, let's give them Bruno. Chief is Bruno. It's all Bruno. So let's give them Bruno, where in that case, you don't have a price, you don't have anything, but all you do is, I say I want a check to buy. And then at that moment, I respond to say, I want 30 cedis. This is the photo. And then I pay the money to the platform. And when I see the chair, I release it from the platform to you. That's what we did. And it's gaining a lot of interest, it's gaining a lot of participation. We'll talk about that later. But the ability to create, the ability to construct, that's the last thing that I will speak about. The ability to create, the ability to construct. I was listening to a Google Speaks lecture today, and the professor speaking is a professor of mathematics who says she was a dunce in school. She just could not get it right. But today she's award-winning and all of that, and speaking on big platforms. And what she noticed was that a lot of people have an apparent attention deficit. That at the moment that you are telling them something, they start to say, oh, this metal is shiny. But those people too are the ones who are creating and changing the momentum of the world.
Whereas somebody is also a race car driver, that's what she used. And everything is in their mind. It's properly memorized, they can play with it, and they can impress with knowledge and so on and so forth. But when you put them in a vacuum, it's hard for them to also come out, because nothing has been put there, no data, no form, no substance. So that marriage is what we see. So ladies and gentlemen, as I said, I'm normally very brief. And I come with a lot of pain for 30 years, and the country needs academia to salvage some of that pain, but at the same time, to find a construct, as I was saying with Dr. Komia, a construct. Me, University of Ghana told me they don't understand why Kimpa employed me as a lecturer in 2010. I lectured in the Kimpa, Chelsea, and AIT for 1 year, but they said if you had come here, we would not have taken you, because we are strictly PhD. At the end of the day, there's a certain construct. I see where they are also coming from. Because I see a lot of people bluffing their way from banks, from manufacturing companies and so on, and wasting the time of the academic institutions by pretending that you can get through a class with undergrad students and you can get through anything. So let's optimize, let's find the optimum solution. Thank you very much.